Hey y'all, it's me, Dree. So today we are starting with momentum, illumination, and this fulfillment is coming in reversed. So what I'm getting here is that something is moving. Something is being revealed. But there is still something within the collective that has not been fully resolved. So there is forward moving energy here. There is truth coming into focus. But with this fulfillment reversed, I'm getting that the collective may still be looking outside of themselves for something they need to find within themselves. Now let's get into this message. We start with the Page of Swords reverse, the Winter Solstice, and the King of Cups reversed. So with this Page of Swords reversed, I'm getting here that there have been somebody with mind games, flippant energy, and it's been going on for a long time. There have been unanswered questions. There has been indirect communication. There may have been gossip, sarcasm, cynicism, or someone simply refusing to speak their truth. And I'm getting that this has left the collective trying to understand what exactly was actually happening beneath the surface. Because then the energy shifts into this winter solstice, and this timing card says that it's time for the collective to validate how they feel, tie up the loose ends, and finally put this situation to bed. This card is saying that y'all do not need to keep waiting for someone else to answer questions that have already been answered through a pattern. Y'all do not have to keep looking outside of yourselves for confirmation of what y'all experienced. It is time to find the light within. Validate your own feelings and to allow this long cycle, overdue cycle, to come fully to rest. And then this whole message ends with this King of Cups reverse, or not the message, this first column. And with this King of Cups reverse, I can see exactly why this situation has remained emotionally unresolved. I'm getting that y'all's expression of emotion was not being balanced by the person we are looking at. Y'all may have been trying to engage emotionally. Y'all may have been expressing how y'all felt, trying to reach understanding or trying to bring emotional balance into the connection. But this person, they were not meeting y'all where you were. This person may have been emotionally unstable, emotionally unavailable, manipulative, withdrawn, and likely incapable of handling the collective's emotional expression appropriately. Because I'm getting that y'all were offering emotion into a situation where that emotion, it was not being balanced. And I'm getting that that's where this momentum and this illusion comes into the message, because momentum is explaining how quickly this recognition is moving through the collective right now. I'm getting the collective. Y'all are sharp. Y'all are picking things up. Y'all are connecting the mind games and the unanswered questions and the indirect communication and the emotional imbalance. Y'all are recognizing this distorted King of Cups for exactly what it is, because the pattern is becoming undeniable, don't you think? And once that recognition lands, we know it cannot be dismissed, because y'all can no longer explain away what y'all are seeing. Y'all can no longer confuse emotional instability with emotional depth. The collective is recognizing that the imbalance here, that was real. And that recognition is what allows y'all to validate yourselves and finally begin to put this cycle to bed. And then we have the center of the message. We have the full moon, the 10 of Swords, the 5 of Swords reverse. So this card, this full moon, this is just doubling down on the illumination here. And this is what is being illuminated. The collective is seeing a cycle that has not truly reached its ending point. This is not a maybe. This is not a pause. This is a real ending, you guys. A real collapse. A real completion. That's everything this full moon alludes to. And then again, it doubled down on the 10 of Swords. This is confirmation. The chapter is over. Y'all have reached the absolute limit of what this situation could produce. It left y'all feeling backstabbed, betrayed, broken down, like y'all had reached rock bottom. So I'm getting this was a real low point for y'all. This situation did not simply just disappoint y'all, but I'm getting that it wounded y'all. I'm getting that it brought y'all into a place where y'all may have questioned yourselves. Question your judgment. Questioned your own value. But then something interesting happens here, because we immediately move into the 5 of Swords reverse. And I'm getting that the energy surrounding this ending begins to shift almost as almost immediately after the collapse. I'm getting the collapse happens, and then the energy turns. And the collective shifts their entire situation into a better position after reaching their rock bottom limit with it. And that's not necessarily because the external situation here has changed. No. This is because the collective has changed. Y'all have reached a point where y'all can no longer keep carrying the energy in the same way that you always have. I'm getting something within the collective recognizes that enough is enough. And the entire frequency begins moving into a different direction. And that's exactly where this fulfillment reverse comes into the message, because I'm getting, even though the cycle ended, the collective, y'all still had a lesson to learn around your self-worth. Because for y'all to shift your energy so quickly after hitting rock bottom, that tells me that y'all should have never had hit rock bottom to begin with. That also tells me that this situation, it was never an accurate reflection of the collective's value. And it became a wound because the collective allowed an external situation to define something that comes internally. And I'm getting that is why y'all are being guided back towards yourselves, not because the ending has not happened. I'm going to say again, the ending, that's real. The collapse, that's real. The illumination, that is real too. I'm getting that the collective is being guided inward because you all still have to heal part of yourselves. The part of yourselves that believe this situation had the authority to determine your worth to begin with. Because the reality is, I'm not getting that this situation was right. I'm getting the people involved were not operating from a healthy place. And I'm getting that if y'all had been fully tuned into yourselves from the very beginning, y'all would have recognized the distortion much, much sooner. Y'all would have seen the situation correctly, and y'all would not have allowed it to become a wound around your self-worth. That's exactly what intermingling with the external world does to a person, don't you think? We all get our feelings of devalued and self-worth around how we're treated by others. This whole message ends with the 9 of coins reversed, the 5 of coins, and the strength reverse. So with the 9 of coins, this doubles down. This doubles down on everything we're saying about self-worth. And this card is coming in to say that the collective was always worth it. the entire situation here, that has become a lesson around poor self-worth. And that's not because the collective is not worthy. Y'all have been worthy the entire time. But I'm getting here that y'all are simply beginning to recognize that worth for yourselves now. Even if these people involved never did. Because y'all were always worth the effort. Y'all were always worth the truth. And y'all were always worth being treated with care, with respect, and with emotional balance. And the failure of another person to recognize your value, that does not remove it. This is the confirmation the collective needs. Y'all can acknowledge the situation for exactly what it was now. Take this validation with you and hold on to it. And then divert your attention away from this situation and place it back onto yourselves. The next card is this Five of Coins. And what I'm getting here is that the people in this situation, they put the collective through harsh conditions. There was rejection. There was turmoil. There was alienation, and there was loss. There was also the experience of being left out in the cold. So the collective may have been victimized while also being alienated from a person or environment surrounding this situation. And really, I just have to say, what kind of group does that to a person? What kind of people put someone through harsh conditions and reject them, alienate them even, and then continuing operating as though that person was the problem? I don't know, you guys. All I can say is the kind of people that can do that are the kind of people who are sitting in low frequency energy, because that behavior speaks to the frequency of this situation and these people that are involved. It does not speak to the collective's worth. Not whatsoever. Y'all were trying to measure y'all's value through an environment that was never capable of reflecting y'all's value accurately. These people wouldn't even know value if it hit them in the head. And then the message ends with this Strength of Reverse. The biggest thing I'm getting with this card is that y'all are being guided inward right now, because continuing to engage with this situation, with these people, or even with this overall energy, that's not doing anything beneficial for the collective. What it is doing, it's putting y'all into a weaker position. And that keeps touching the wounds around your inadequacy, your self-doubt, your low self-esteem, and your overall vulnerability. And getting that y'all are still vulnerable because of what this situation created within y'all. And that is exactly why y'all are being guided away from your external reality right now. This is not permanent isolation. This is protection while the final layer of this whole lesson lands and then heals. Because I'm getting, as long as y'all remain focused on this Amber Alert. That's like 5 hours away from me. So what I'm getting here is that as long as y'all stay focused on this ending and this external situation, these oracles that we started with, they cannot fully complete, because momentum plus illumination, that should not equal going within. So what I think here is that we are arriving at this message a little prematurely, maybe just a tad too early, because the momentum has started. We know that. Illumination has landed. We know that because the cycle, it's ended. But y'all still have internal healing left to do before y'all can return to the external without allowing it to affect your self-worth. I know the collective has done the work. I know y'all have gone within, and I know y'all are accounting for yourselves now. Y'all are looking honestly at the places where this situation has allowed, where this situation was allowed to become personal. Y'all are recognizing where somebody else's behavior became a statement about your own value. And y'all are correcting that. And the important thing is that you guys are doing it by yourselves. You're not doing it through anybody else. Because once you land at self-value like that, it can't be replaced. I'm getting that y'all have to reach a place where y'all can be around the people or the environments that connect to this story when none of it has the ability to determine how you feel about yourselves. And once that happens, then the lesson will be integrated, and the rest of this progression occurs naturally. The fulfillment reverses or flips. The collective returns fully to themselves. And then y'all wrap this lesson up for good, because y'all recognize your own value now. And then this momentum, it resumes. The collective, I'm getting, has come a long way to reach this point. Y'all have already recognized the distorted emotional energy here. Y'all have already acknowledged the collapse, and with a little help, you have accepted that this was a real ending. And y'all have already begun shifting yourselves into a better position. Now, the last part of the lesson is returning your attention fully to yourselves. Y'all don't need to keep watching the situation. Y'all do not need to remain focused on the people involved. And y'all do not need for those people to confirm what any of this message has already validated. Because y'all were put through harsh conditions. Y'all experienced rejection, betrayal, and alienation all at the same time. And y'all were made to question your own value. But y'all were always enough. And you know that your worth has never been determined by people, especially people who are operating from a frequency too low to even recognize value. So, I urge you, stay quiet just a little longer. Stay within. Put your attention back on your own life, your own healing, your own work, your own home, and your own growth. And while you do that, the universe is going to finish with this whole karmic balancing all by itself. Because we just went through it. The energy it has already turned. The collective has already shifted themselves into a better position. And when the momentum resumes, it's going to move from a place of restored self-worth instead of from a place of injury. I'm getting that this lesson is going to be finalized sooner than later. And y'all have come far too far to abandon this process now. It is worth remaining quiet just a little longer while the universe finishes what it is doing. And I'm going to tell you this now. Whatever you're looking for, when it happens, your inner knowing is going to tell you so. And you will also see a sign of it in your 3D reality. Because y'all have done the work. Y'all have gone within. And y'all are accounting for yourselves again. So let's finish healing that wound. Let's restore your strength. And let's allow the momentum to resume naturally when the external situation no longer has the ability to tell y'all who it is that you are. This lesson is a core lesson, and it's an important one. It's one where the rest of the lessons won't even work the way they're supposed to or in their true essence if this lesson of self-worth isn't mastered. And I'm getting, as you guys are edging your way into reality right now, you're probably getting grazes of this sensitivity. And that tells you that the work is not quite yet complete. So stick with me and let's finish out this journey together. And that's the message that I have for y'all today. So remember, where there's love, there's light. I'll see y'all again real soon.